Hi, welcome to the Craft channel. My name's Corinne Brad and today I've got a series of videos for you showing you how to make a great treble cluster crocheted bag. Now, I don't ever really carry a handbag. I tend to put everything in my jeans pockets, but totes like this are so handy for just chucking stuff in and walking around the corner. It's got long leather shoulder straps. It's also got integral leather bands inside for two reasons. It stops your bag stretching out of shape, but it also means you can put keychains on there to hang important things because there is no top closure on this bag. And also because it is crochet, there are obviously holes in it. But we've done this treble clusters dense enough that things shouldn't fall out of it. And we've also flattened the bottom with a fabric covered foam board disc. That's up to you whether you want to do that or not, but it just sits in the bottom so that you can have it almost like a duffel bag. It will sit neatly on the floor. So this bag has been made with cotton from the Stylecraft Naturals range. It's 100% organic cotton. It's double knitting weight. You can get it in about 40 different shades, 38 different shades I think. These are 50-gram balls. And I'm going to make the sample today in what I call ice cream colours, which are here. So crochet is one of those things now that it's about the only thing I can do now without needing my reading glasses. So if you've never crocheted before, you just want to watch this bit quite carefully. You need to make a slip knot in your yarn. So wrap your yarn around your finger, hook your finger under, and make a slip knot, which you then pop onto your hook. Give yourself enough yarn that you're not putting undue tension on yourself. And the first ring of my bag is going to be made with 4 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm keeping my tension quite loose because it's much easier. I mean, I use an ergonomic hook so that I don't put too much pressure on my hands. But it's much easier to then put your tip of your hook back into that first chain. Put your yarn around it again and slip it back through. So you've made a ring of those 4 chains. Do another chain to bring your yarn up to working height, and then I'm going to work 6 double crochet into the ring. So you put your hook. Once you've done the first one, it's actually much easier to find the middle of the ring. Let's just stretch that out. There's the middle of the ring. Put your hook in the middle of the ring, yarn over hook, back through, yarn over hook, and back through 2, and that's your first double crochet, or if you're in the States, single crochet. I'm going to use UK terminology because it's what I was taught with, but we're only using double crochets and trebles, so nothing is too difficult if you want to convert it. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, last one 6 double crochet to make a sturdy ring, and then you just want to slip into that first stitch and slip back through to join the ring. Now if you were doing a normal granny square, you'd do 4 double crochet into the ring, and then you'd do sets of 3 trebles forming the corners. Because a hexagon has got 6 corners and not 4, you need less stitches. So I'm just going to do sets of 2 trebles, and I'm going to join each one with a chain, just one single chain. So again, do 2 stitches to bring you up to working height. If your tension is particularly tight, you might want to come up to 3 stitches to make it to working height, but I find that's a bit too baggy. Those 2 chain act as your first part of the treble, and then you go back in, to do a treble. Put the yarn over your hook to start with, go back into that stitch, yarn over hook, and bring it out, yarn over hook, so you've got 4 loops on the hook, through 2, yarn over hook, through 2. And that's your first set of 2 trebles. We'll put a chain in between and then work into the next double crochet in the ring. So yarn over hook, into the stitch, yarn over hook and back through, yarn over hook, pass it through 2 loops, yarn over hook, pass it through two loops. Goodness, I tell you, trying to explain this and trying to talk and think at the same time is not my greatest skill. But if you just watch, you can see that yarn over hook, into your stitch, yarn over hook, back out of the stitch, yarn over hook, through those first 2 loops, yarn over hook, through those last 2 loops. So as you're doing this, if you've never done it before, it does become much easier. But just remember to put a single chain between each set of trebles. Now this yarn is what they call a multi-seasonal yarn, because it's cotton, so it's warm in the winter, it's cool in the summer, not just for making garments, but also for working with. Because I've heard people remark that they don't knit or crochet in the summer because their hands just get too hot and the yarn just gets too uncomfortable to work with. With cotton, because it's naturally absorbent, you can crochet in a heat wave because it still slides through your hands no matter how damp they are, and it's quite warm under these lights, but I'm not having a problem with it. So that's 5. Let's just do my last set of trebles. Like so, a final chain, and then I'm just going to slip into that first set and finish with a slip stitch. Now most times what you would do is then pull your yarn through and finish with a slip stitch. For extra security, I like to put a really tight chain in the end. I don't know if that is the norm or whether that's just me, but I sometimes find that slip stitches don't always hold as well. So there you go. So we'll change colour. Let's use this bone. And what we're going to do now is, you can see you've got your gaps, your 6 gaps in your circle. We're going to turn this into a hexagon. So you can join your yarn anywhere on that ring as long as you use one of the chain spaces. And the way I join yarn is I put my hook in. I don't bother putting a slip knot in the new yarn. I just put it over the hook, feed it through, and then put both my working yarn and my tail end through the loop. So it locks in the end of the yarn, and then you've still got yarn to work with. So to bring it back up to working height, I'm going to do 2 chains, like this. And then, if you're anything like me, the worst part of any crochet project in multicolours is the weaving in of ends afterwards. I can't bear it. I'd rather my project fell apart than have to weave the ends in. So what I tend to do is I will hold that tail end against my work, and as I'm crocheting into the chain space, I'll also crochet over that yarn so it covers it. So there's 2 trebles in that chain space. I'm going to do another chain space because this is going to remain as it's not exactly a corner, but it is an angle of a hexagon. And do another set of 2 trebles in there. To form your angle. And if you were doing a normal granny square, so you had 4 sides, you would put a chain space in between your next set of trebles. But in a normal granny square, if you were doing a corner, you'd put 2 chains in the corner to make it a definite corner. As I say, because you're going to have 6 corners on this, you need less stitches, otherwise it's just going to get too baggy. So I'm not going to put a chain between these sets. I'm just going to repeat the process and work 2 sets of 2 trebles separated by a single chain into the next hole. That end of yarn is getting on my nerves, but I'm going to get rid of that in a minute. Oh. So that forms your next angle. So I'm going to work round until I have done the remaining 4 sides. Now I said a minute ago that that other end of yarn was really getting on my nerves. So what I'm now going to do is, like I did with my tail end of my second colour, I'm going to hold this against the work and I'm going to work my stitches over it to weave it in. And as I'm working, you can see those little random tail ends of this second colour just poking around. Just leave them for the time being. What you'll do at the end of the project is just turn your bag inside out and trim off all the other niggly little ends. So I've got 2 more corners to do. And then when you've reached the end, again just join your yarn to that first set of trebles with a slip stitch. And then if you're overly secure like me, put an extra chain in there to make sure that slip stitch doesn't come undone. So you can see that the addition of that chain in between the 2 sets of trebles at the corners makes a definite hexagon shape. And you can build up the hexagon shape just as we're doing there. So with each corner you put 2 sets of trebles. Where you've got the gaps between the corners, you just put 1 set of trebles. And that's how you would make something like this hexagon throw. It's like a normal hexagon patchwork, but it's just made up of hexagons that are then crocheted together. So I'm just going to put a 3rd round of hexagons on here. And then if you come back to me in the next video, I'll show you how you round off your hexagons. Click here to see the next part of the video. And if you've enjoyed videos by the Crafts channel, hit the like button. Want to see more of us? Then click subscribe. See you next time.